10 years.
Every 10 years.
It's every 10 years.
After the census.
Okay. And I believe it's supposed to be based on population. But if you look at the way that some of the lines are drawn, especially in the state districts, where they actually, some of them actually just horseshoe around different areas, it would be hard to argue that the reason some of it is done isn't political.
But do you have any idea how much money it's?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
You know how much is spent locally and
I don't know, but I'd be interested in seeing. I'm sure it's.
So would I.
I'm
So
sure
would
it's a substantial amount of money.
Nationwide.
I'm sure it is.
Huge.
Yeah, recently on CNN News, this pertains to economy. There was an article and it discussed that chambers of commerce throughout the United States were accepting foreign funds from Asia and things like that, not to act and basically be dormant here at home. Now I have one U.S. patent and I'm patent pending on 5 other items. On my personal, since I was around this locality, I went down to Chamber of Commerce and they, oh yeah, patent, yeah, well, that's nice, yeah, well, it's just, you know, maybe, it was like, the hell with it, not in those words. And anyway, that ended up being, anyway, the users of these products, wherever I had, no matter who they are, politics doesn't mind that. Yeah, that's a good idea. And I can't do anything. I tried even, I saw this struggling not just with inventions, copyrights with the youth and everything. How about ESU, creative and uplifting innovations? I'm burnt out. I can't handle this myself anymore. What's wrong with that? And you know, it's, well, I said, yeah, they would classify me as an angel investor. That's doing it yourself. And we want you to write something on, what was it, venture capitalists. I said, I'm not a venture capitalist, I need venture capitalists. But anyway, that's the frustration of it. I think an awful lot of the products are being made in China these days. And in Asia, you can get very, very poor things. All I can say is about Mexico, they initiated martial law on the cartel, the little people, and then it passed abortion on demand in some legislation. So, other than getting a private cigarette for $15, why there isn't as much I want nice stuff these days. Well, God bless America, they really need it.
Yeah, well, we need to start manufacturing back here and have a level playing field, so we're not losing all the manufacturing jobs overseas, and we saw many because you know, we have the second highest corporate tax rate here in the United States of all nations, and you know, that makes it very difficult to compete. You know, when our tax structure is so punitive here. But, you know, it's a good point.
Going back to your Afghan question, do you really think that war should be left up to the generals? And secondly, don't you think that we're sort of fighting a losing battle over there in view of the fact that our ally, Pakistan, is really undermining our efforts? I mean, do you think that your answer to the public here right tonight was what the American people want to hear?
No, basically what I'm saying is, you know, obviously the policy is set in Washington.
Yeah, I know, but who's sending it, the generals or the politicians?
Well, it shouldn't be made by, you know, decisions on the field shouldn't be made by politicians. I don't believe that either. You know, I would just, you know, I believe we need to take the information that the generals are be able to tell us from the field and bring them out and make our decisions there. I don't think that we could, even I or you or anyone here could sit here today without all the information, without all the intelligence from the field and make that decision without hearing that. I know, just for example, on a much smaller scale, when we're dealing with incidences in a city, you know, I'm privy to intelligence that the general public may not hear. And I may have knowledge of information that would make sense with our, you know, the reason for our action. And we're not. We don't have all that information, and all I'm saying is that I would want to sit down and hear what our generals are saying. What you know, this is a dangerous world right now, and it's unlike any other time in our history. And I think it would be yeah, I think it would be smart of me to make sure that I'm getting all the information of what our generals are saying, what's happening, what's our strategy, what's the reason, before making a statement without having all of that information that those in Washington are privileged to have.
Well, the one thing today with news being 24/7, the American public gets educated pretty fast on both sides of the issue, the way I look at it. And here we have a government empowered that's more willing to spend billions over there than protect our borders here in the United States.
Well, I agree, we need to protect our borders here. I'm with you there, there's no question about it. You know, it's a much different world, and there are people that would, you know, like to wipe us off the face of the earth, and you know, I'm anxious to listen and hear what our strategy is, and you know, make a more informed decision based on information that I would receive there and briefings that I would get. I mean, I, much like you, can only get our information on what's fed to us by the news and what we could find out ourselves. But you know, I don't think there's anyone that wouldn't want to see all of our soldiers safely back home again. But one thing I could tell you right now and today, that if I'm in Washington, I will always vote to make sure that our men and women have, if they are asked to be in harm's way and defend us, that they have everything that they need to do that, and that I don't need a briefing on. You know, that is something that I can guarantee you I would do.
Besides repealing NAFTA, which I hear, according to Fox News, that it's sending a lot of these Mexican illegals across the border, which might be a good thing. There's a move with 5 congressmen now, Republicans, to repeal NAFTA. Wouldn't it also be, they're also exploring this idea of not just automatically giving citizenship to anybody that's born in the U.S. Because what's going on, the Arabs, and this was on Fox News too, they're coming over just to have babies born in this country, so they'll automatically give them U.S. citizenship, and then 20, 30 years down the road, they can come back as a terrorist because they're an American citizen. Australia did away with their automatic birthright citizenship, and there was another country that just recently did away with it. So it's something to really look at, I think.
Right. You're right. I don't believe the Constitution, that was the intent at the time.
And it's sending all these illegals
Right.
over. They're coming in Arizona and Texas with food stamps and health care. And, I mean, we understand their country's in bad shape, but how much can we add? I mean, it's just much.
I believe it's worth looking at.
I asked you that similar question a few months ago, weeks ago, and I don't know how many people know that if you're having a baby and you're amongst the diplomatic community, your baby isn't a citizen because your baby isn't under the jurisdiction of this government, and it seems to me that they could easily ascertain or decide that a child whose parents are under the influence of another government is also under the influence of that other government, so they can't be an American citizen.
Kind of switching topics here. Do you think that we should repeal Dole National Hotel? And if not, which I'm assuming you're going to say, why?
Well, actually, there was there's a study being conducted that would be completed by the end of the year. Again, having the military part of that study as to the pros and cons. And I think we should be, before we decide to repeal or not repeal, wait till the study is completed, since they're taking the time to do it, and then make a decision based on again, information coming back from the military itself as to the pros and cons.
Right.
That's being legislated in the branch today. There was another decision on that. That federal appeals court judge in California refused to stay her order. And the Army, apparently, Secretary of Defense has been given the word to quit enforcing it.
As I said, there's a study that is due to be completed the end of the year. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see what the results are of that.
If elected, what are you gonna do to change the healthcare for wounded veterans?
Well, especially, you know, we need to make sure that our veterans, our wounded veterans, have all the health care that they need, especially since so many veterans are coming back, you know, from Afghanistan and Iraq, and we need to make sure that they have the health care that they need. You know, many are dealing with psychological problems as well from these wars, and you know, talking to many of them, they don't feel that they're getting all the care that they need right now. So I believe that we owe that to the veterans who have, you know, again, risked their own lives to protect us and defend us. And we need to make sure that they're taken care of when they come back. I think we failed many times with our veterans. In the United States, 1 out of every 3 homeless person in the United States is a United States veteran. And that's unconscionable when you think about it, that we've allowed men and women who've given their life or risked their life for us to sleep on sidewalks here in America. So, you know, I think we're not doing enough for the veterans, and we need, and I will be a supporter of making sure that they have what they need.
Lou, can you speak on a story that was probably bigger in Scranton than it was down here about the 3 Catholic hospitals that are threatening to close or are for sale because of the Obamacare plan?
Sure.
And, you know, there's been a lot of back and forth of what's true, what's not true. Can you
Sure, I
straighten
can.
that out a little bit?
Yeah, the CEO of Mercy made the statement that Mercy hospitals, the 3 Catholic hospitals, will be selling. They will be selling the hospital, and one of the reasons, the CEO said, one of the reasons in coming to that decision was Obamacare and the effect that it would have on the hospital down the road. Now, the hospitals weren't losing money at this time. However, he was concerned about what effect Obamacare would have on the hospital, and therefore that was part of the reason of determining to sell the hospital right now. And that is an example of the unintended consequences that this health care bill will have. It's one of the consequences that it will drive hospitals out of business. It will drive doctors out of business. You know, another unintended consequence that I believe, or some of the language in it that we're just finding out because Nancy Pelosi told us that they had to pass it before we could find out what's in it. And now we're starting to. And another provision that's really interesting in the healthcare bill is the 1099 provision. That's any business-to-business transaction that is over $600, you must file a form with the IRS. For every transaction over $600, you must file a form with the Internal Revenue. For small businesses, I could tell you, they could never keep up with the paperwork. And then the question needs to be asked is, why is this in the healthcare bill? Why would a business-to-business transaction, and you must report any transaction over $600 in a healthcare bill, and the only answer is the reason that they wanted to hire so many IRS agents is to trip small business up, so that you could be penalized to help pay for the healthcare bill. So we're going to continue to find out more and more of what this healthcare, how it will affect us. But a perfect example is before we're even started, you know, Mercy hospitals are looking to sell because they're concerned of the effect it will have on the healthcare.
Is there a